And so I thought, improvement in a lot of areas, and then some other areas with the Curry stuff. Like you said, there's so many different layers of it that we could have probably been better and that we'll learn and grow from.
Nick Smith Jr.'s got a ton of starts this season, a lot more from kind of building on the end of his rookie season. What have you seen from him? Obviously, he struggled shooting a couple games in a row. What have you seen from him, and where do you want him to go as the season concludes?
Yeah, I love the progress and growth that Nick has made. I just think, number one, defensively, he's getting to guard a lot of different people. He's putting in a lot of different situations now, sometimes some bigger wings, sometimes some point guards, sometimes some primary guys, maybe sometimes some third option guys where we need him to shift a little bit. So, the experience that he's getting in all different areas and all different types of people that he's guarding is really good for him. Even trying to contain the bounce has been an area for him as the MIG to, take on that individual challenge and embrace the opportunity to kind of just get a stop. And the same energy that he has offensively, I want him to bring that same passion and energy to the defensive side. And I think that he's responded and kind of stepped up and tried to add some resistance. I think the next step for him is just positioning and doing it without fouling. At times he just kind of gets himself stuck in some positions where if he's there earlier, he maybe doesn't pick up a foul or beats a guy to a spot. And then offensively, he's continued to grow. He's got so many tools in his bag. I think we've watched him create individual shots for himself. He's doing such a much better job of reading coverages and pick and roll. And sometimes it's the seam pass that he needs to hit. Sometimes he needs to put pressure on the big and score at the basket, and his floater's been good. And just catch and shoot. That's the other thing that kind of just opens up all of his game. Is it starts there with just some of the simple closeout reads and catch and shoot and simple drives and simple plays if you see the defense collapse. Yeah, when you have experience, and that's something that we're trying to gain right now with our group, get more reps together, but you're able to understand, what do you need to go to offensively to get a bucket, and how do you need to execute it, and what's the physicality that you need defensively, and they responded in critical moments, and I think that our group is continuing to learn that, and so, there's a ton that we can take from this game, and I think that, we do learn that winning in this league is hard. It's a different beast every night. And I thought that our guys did a pretty good job of responding to the next challenge in front of them today.
Damian Ball had a couple of good scoring games on the road trip tonight, 6 assists to 1 turnover, almost 30 minutes off the bench. In his short Hornets tenure, what have you seen from him that you've liked, especially tonight with his playmaking?
Yeah, just competitive joy. He plays the game with such bounce and pop, and he carries a basketball around with him all the time. He's just a guy that loves the game, and you feel his energy, you feel his impact on both ends of the floor. I think he's willing to guard anybody. He's got a fearlessness to him and a strong demeanor that I think really resonates with his teammates and the coaching staff. So loving everything that he's kind of given our group, especially in such a short window when he hasn't had a ton of time from a practice standpoint or even just a chemistry standpoint of getting reps with these guys. So he's fit in really well as a person and a player.
You talk about that chemistry. How hard has it been for you and your coaching staff this year with having so many guys in and out of the lineup? Feels like there's just been so little consistency with rotations because of injuries and 2 ways and 10 days and everything. How difficult has it been for you guys to kind of keep the chemistry of everybody going with all the ins and outs?
Yeah, not difficult at all. I would say it's actually been fun. We get to experiment with new groups and new lineups, and every day brings a different challenge. That I think the one place that you do find consistency though is our messaging. Everyone in the building is saying the right things, but also saying the same things. So we're all on the same page, and we know what each day is about, and what is the purpose of each day in terms of.
Guys fell down. I think it was 13 maybe at the most there at the end of that first quarter, and stuck with it for the next 2. Without looking at the film, I know what kind of shifted their way at the end of that third that kind of caused the momentum to swing the other way.
Yeah, it's 2 things for me that end of the third, like you said, you feel the emotions of the game, obviously a bunch of technicals at that point. Referees had made some calls, and I'd say it was kind of in our favor. And, we talked about in one of the timeouts, now that they've done those things and they have the emotion, they're going to come out and they're going to play a little bit harder. They're going to try to respond right now in this moment, and this is great for us to embrace this challenge that's about to come our way. And we're right there on the doorstep, keep playing. And So I think that they did a good job of kind of executing and getting some things that they were trying to get. I think all night offensively, though, like I felt like we kind of beat ourselves from the standpoint of like we got open looks. We got to the free throw line at a decent clip today and missed 11 free throws. We had 17 turnovers. You know, some of it Golden State, but a lot of it just like us and, you know, some careless ones in there. But I thought for the most part, game plan execution, a lot better. We talked about trying to take away the pain and, you know, instead of 62 points, you're looking at the box score today and they got 36 in the paint. And so like we took care of things in that area. There was just too many other areas I thought that we kind of like beat ourselves.
And real quick on that third quarter, I know it was kind of a longer third quarter with reviews and fouls and free throws on both sides. How do you think your team handled the emotion of that, especially with, you know, some of the physicality that was, you know, in play there?
Yeah, no, I think they did pretty good. You know, standing up for one another, owning their space. You know, Tijon standing in there as a rookie and taking a shot from Green, I think obviously earns him a little bit of stripes and he can feel what that feels like a playoff caliber team, a championship caliber team with what they've gone through. So I think it's a good environment. I thought that we responded pretty well. The communication and the timeouts was good. I just think that like as we go forward, just remembering what that moment was like and then just trying to kind of like increase our momentum during that time and not let them really get back into it.
Seems like it's pick your poison when you're trying to figure out how to defend Steph. Seems like he had a lot of 2 on the ball whenever he had the ball, trying to force the ball out of his hands. He had 8 or 9 assists in the first half. What was that defensive coverage you guys were throwing at him tonight?
Yeah, I thought, you know, anytime with him, you got to be good in pick and roll in terms of being up on the screen, creating some indecision, and, you know, good players, they take what the game gives you, and that's what he does. He hits the seam pass, which, you know, we were expecting and ready for, and I thought that our weak side shift and help activity was good at times. Obviously not perfect, but I thought that we did a much better job than we did in game 1 of covering for each other in some of those situations. You know, we talked about in the third quarter when they did put a little bit more shooting out there. You know, there weren't as many lineups of like the Paytons out there. You know, Butler, Green, they had some other guys. And so even on our scrambles, we talk about can we slice out a little bit more so that they can't get some of the swing threes that they did get. But I thought for the most part, the pick and roll coverage with Curry was pretty tight. I thought some of the off-ball screening stuff could have been a little bit better. But I do think that we tightened up kind of like the post splits. You know, I thought in game 1, that was an area that they were kind of able to ding us